And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report. Today, on the 5th of September, Labor Day weekend, I was so close to. I literally just rewatched my prediction from last week. I was so close to getting this right. I was just surprised at what Paw Patrol dropped. But look, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings debuts, not even on its Labor Day numbers, because we still got tomorrow, with $71.4 million. We'll talk about that, obviously. Candyman does pretty well in its second week with $10.5 million. Free Guy continuing to do well at the box office with another $8.7 million. Paw Patrol number 4 with $4 million. And Jungle Cruise still made it into the top 5 with $3.9 million. Good on it. But let's get into it. Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings debuted with 71.4 million. Now they are saying 83 here. They are factoring in what the estimated Labor Day weekend numbers are going to be. But look, and it broke the Labor Day weekend record. That's how well this film is being received and how good the film, in my opinion, actually is, because I've seen the film now and it's really good. I think his film is really good. But that is what word of mouth, that is what actual quality will do. And this is in a pandemic with, a lot of other things going on right now. Plus, you got the whole damn, in a worldwide open on 139.7. And also, you got the fact that apparently China did not want this film. They're not letting this film be in China. Look, there's a whole bunch of things. I almost got into a big conversation and almost debate with Mark about the whole China thing, but I at this point I don't want to deal with that. But at least when talking to him. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues going on with China, as it turns out, and a lot of people don't like China, and understandable reasons. And you would think that this would have been one of those films that would have been primed to be shown in China, but as it turns out, a lot of American films that Mulan was another one of these. A lot of American films that are made about China tend to not want to be shown in China because of reasons. We're not going to get into political, but it's some of it might be understandable if you're worried about the way you're represented in movies based on someone else's depiction of you. But when it comes to the China thing, there's a lot more facets that I just don't want to get into. Short and sweet of it, it's kind of like the whole, communism versus not communism and, different ideologies and all that. And that's a very simplified, very low-keyed version of what you could argue might be going on. But regardless, so we're going to have to face the fact that it's probably not going to be getting a showing in China. However, it still made $71 million, making it the second highest grossing opening weekend of the year during a pandemic, during a heightened part of the pandemic, because Black Widow was actually in an ebbing part of the pandemic, but unfortunately, we suddenly saw those surges again. And yet, $71 million worth of people went out to see the film. I think that says a lot about just the word of mouth, how well that word of mouth is being received. It made 56 international too. Unfortunately, no China numbers really didn't. That hurt a bit. I mean, it's probably not in every area either. So it's still got other places to go besides China, certainly. In fact, actually, let's see if we can find where it's released right now. Okay, so right now it is currently released. It's got actually a decent little release over the overall area right now. United Kingdoms, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Mexico, Brazil, South Korea, Russia, Japan, Hong Kong. Okay, it does actually have one spot in Hong Kong, in China, but that's it. And I'm sure it will get more releases and it will gain more following here, but it actually looks like the domestic might be where it gets a big bulk of its money this time around. But look, this is nothing but good. Particularly because I looked at the budget, and the budget surprisingly wasn't as high as your normal Marvel film. I mean, it's still $150 million, but as Marvel MCU films go, that's actually not unreasonable. Add on the fact that this actually, in terms of marketing, Shang-Chi did not have, say, Black Widow marketing budget. It did not, which I'm guessing was close to $200 million. It did not have, Avengers level or anything like that. No. It probably only had about, it probably had about $100 million in marketing. So when you actually do the math on that, this film would actually have to hit about 390 to break even. And I think that's actually well within the realm of possibility to do, particularly if we have next coming weeks where there's very little coming out. And if Free Guy has shown us anything when it comes to these films that, have been released without the day and date release, format, I think this could bode very well for Shang-Chi's long-term box office. Because if it can do anything like Free Guy did, and we'll skip Candyman for just a minute to talk about Free Guy, because Free Guy is a very good comparison of what we could, mind you, not will, see with Shang-Chi. Because again, if Shang-Chi has even better reviews than Free Guy does, in theory, you should be seeing something similar to this, particularly because we have nothing coming out this week. One Thing plus Cry Macho, a Cop Shop and Cry Macho come out the following week, and one of those is unlimited release. Neither of them would be competing with Shang-Chi. And then I believe it's Dear Evan Hansen, and even that wouldn't be competing with Shang-Chi very much. So if you look at what Free Guy's been doing, it did 34 its following week, 28 the next week, and now 33.8 this week. Like, theoretically, if Shang-Chi does this, and let's just use these numbers. Let's round it up to for even numbers. 35%. 35% of 73, right? 71. Of 71. 35% of 71 is about 21. It's about 24 million. That means Shang-Chi would make in the upper 40s the following week. Then if it only drops another, let's say 20, let's even round it up to 30 just to make it even again. That means it's still in its mid-30s the following week after that. Then you go down then to about, let's say, 34 here. Let's even round it up to the 35 again. If you go to 35, then you're in the 20s that week. That just be weekend to week, and not even talking about day to day, is roughly another 100 million. Added on to 83 domestic as it is. That's 183 domestic alone, just weekend to weekend, not even including day and day. Now, I am obviously talking a very large hypothetical here. It's very unlikely you're going to see those exact numbers. It's very unlikely you're even going to see, like, say, 30s, really. I don't, even with no competition and good, all the same reviews, I do find it hard to believe it could drop like only 30, but it's still a possibility. I think we gotta really just, be realistic and say, if Free Guy, which opened up much less, but didn't even have as good word of mouth reviews, could come in and do those numbers, I think you gotta at least say there's a possible chance for Shang-Chi. Absolutely. Now, obviously, how you gauge Shang-Chi and Free Guy are two totally different things. They're not the same movie. In fact, Free Guy, I'd argue, probably has a bit more repeat watchability to it due to the fact that it's just a really feel-good film. I think that's the reason people keep going. It's very likable, very feel-good film. Shang-Chi, though, it's still a Marvel film, and it's also really good. It's got a lot of heart likability, action, comedy, fantasy. It's got pretty much runs the gamut. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But now that I've been gushing over Shang-Chi for the last 8 minutes, let's talk a bit more about the rest of the weekend. Because the rest of the weekend, it's the first weekend in a while that we had over $100 million at the box office within the top 10. I mean, really break it down real quick. What is this? These two together, that's 81.9. Then you add that on there, that's a little over 90 million. That's 97. In fact, put that together, probably 98. So yeah, just between the top 7, you've got over 100 million at the box office. That hasn't happened in a while. So Candyman made her $10.5 million, $52 million worldwide. The internationals finally picked up for it. I was worried about the international last week because there was barely anything there. And they're obviously factoring in, again, Labor Day weekend as well. They're factoring in about 2.8 for Labor Day weekend. But look, $52 million on a $25 million budget. Again, a budget that probably wasn't very large. You're looking at best 25 as well. So you're looking at a film that has to hit about 75 million. I think it's on a road to do that. Honestly, I think it's on a road to make its money back. It's already doing really well. It opened on its budget and it only dropped 52%. So I think this film's, or it opened almost on its budget. So I think this was actually on a really good road to making its money back. And I really enjoyed the film. You can see my review. My review for that is up. Free Guy, though, we used it as an example. Let's actually touch on how well it's doing. Free Guy is killing it at the box office. On around 100 million, 125 million-ish. It's made $241 million. And apparently, I found this out. It's very rare for me to actually find out what the marketing budget is, but I do watch YouTubers who are a bit more in the know with the business. So who do find these. So I will hear a mouth about how much marketing a movie has, and how much the marketing budget on a movie was. And as it turns out, the marketing budget apparently is like only $25 million. Now, I thought that was like, hearing that was like, that's a mistake. That can't be right. But thinking on it, I'm like, I don't actually remember hearing a lot of, marketing of, I don't remember seeing, I still remember seeing the trailer a lot, but seeing a lot of different trailers, all that, I'm like, now that I think about it, no, like the biggest one I saw that was outside the norm was that Deadpool Korg reaction trailer, which was awesome, by the way. I loved that. It's like, any tips to getting your model? Well, have a dream, fight for that dream, climb to the highest mountain, then fall to rock bottom, and then when you hit rock bottom, check your emails, and then if you luck out, your agent will say, hey, Marvel wants to talk. But yeah, if that really is true, $25 million for a marketing budget, what against roughly a $125 million budget, you're now looking at a film on the low end that had to only hit about 185, and even on the high end only had to hit about I think words here, about 220. So either way, the film is actually in the black. The film's in the green. The film made money. I'm more inclined to think it's about the 100 million to 25, honestly. And the film only in week 3 is already 241 million. I believe technically it's the 7th highest grossing film in the world. I will disagree with that intently and say is the 5th highest grossing film for the reasons I have dictated before. If we want to talk about China real quick, that is my big problem with China. Is like, there's no way in hell that this movie, Hi Mom, of all things, made $822 million worldwide. You're clearly trying to bullshit us. I digress. When, even like a Fast and Furious movie, which I'm not really going to talk about the Fast 9 when I go down there, so I'll talk about it now. Still making money, surprisingly. $710 million. I do not see it crossing the threshold of Hi Mom, because it would have to make another $112 million, and it just does not have that in the tank, no pun intended. But yeah, good for Fast 9, absolutely. And good, obviously, for and good for Free Guy. I look forward to seeing just where Free Guy ends up, because it still is making money hand over fist. It's really making its money. Good for it. And you know what? Even though I did not love Paw Patrol, hey, all credit where credit's due. For a movie made on $26 million that had next to no marketing in it whatsoever. Like, you're talking about a film that probably had at best 10 to 15 million in marketing. At best. So if we go at best, that means 41 million, you had to hit about a little over 60 million. This film made money. Which sucks, because that means we're going to get more of these, and it really wasn't good. But it wasn't for me, clearly. I'm not the audience for Paw Patrol the movie. For the little kids who are obviously a fan of that series, they'll get their entertainment worth. They will. But yeah, and I feel bad for any adult. There was like one joke where I got an actual chuckle. That's it. And it was a bald joke. But the way it was played out, I'm like, okay, I'll give them that. It was actually a decent little joke. Not amazing, but decent. But let's actually talk about another film real quick that's surprisingly been chugging along. Now, Jungle Cruise sadly lost a lot of money. Like, Jungle Cruise apparently made about $30 million on Disney Plus on its opening week. Factoring it probably did make also more, because that's the same thing with Black Widow too. It didn't just solely make the $60 million it opened up on. It did make more. But you have to assume it didn't make a lot more. So I conservatively always say, let's cut the number in half after that and add it on. That's probably what you're looking at. So let's add 15 million on that. It's 45 million. You take the third the theater gets out, the average third. It's not the same for every theater. Some theater take more, some theater take less, but on average, take a third out. And now you're looking at a film right now that is somewhere in the neighborhood, 193 divided by 3. Let's see here, 6 and 161 roughly. Not quite with a remainder of 1. Well, actually, it's actually 64 roughly. So 64. The film, oh god, the film's only made like $64 million on a $200 million budget, not even including the marketing. But it's been in the top 5 now for how long? Why don't we take a look at that real quick? It's been in the top 5 from its debut on August. It was number 1. And it's been in the top 5 now for 7 weeks. 6 weeks, if you let Labor Day. 6 weeks. And it's probably going to be in the top 5 next week, too. So the question is, what happened? I mean, it didn't do well, but the fact of the matter is they greenlit a sequel. Disney greenlit a sequel. So what's the deal? I think it comes down to a couple factors. A, The Rock is still very likable, and he's still a moneymaker, really. Had this not been on Disney Plus also, this film probably might have made almost double the amount opening weekend. Like $70 million, I don't think would have been unreasonable for this. It probably would have made close to like the 50 and 60 round, but still would have made a lot more, and it would have taken less drops. Like I think the numbers have kind of proven at this point that Disney Plus kills just about any of the Disney Plus and all the stream kind of kills like the box office for your in theater movies, and you're gonna make more money in theater than you are on like HBO. Like at least Disney Plus, actually charged you for it. That's why we can kind of do those kind of like, did it make it up with this formula? Newsflash, it didn't. But they also realized that we have to take the pandemic into consideration, and the fact of the matter is, even during a pandemic, this film has made almost $200 million at the moment. Did we make a mistake? I think we made a mistake, guys. I think, and this is me talking like as a Disney CEO or, Disney board member. I think we made a mistake, guys. I think maybe we should really consider what would happen if we had done this just in the movie theaters. Because look at Godzilla versus Kong. Well, maybe that's not the best example, but that was still, that and The Conjuring are the only 2 day-and-date releases that actually made money back. And that's, I think, really because, A, The Conjuring's a big franchise. And I think also one of the big things was not a lot of people knew The Conjuring was on HBO Max, because I didn't either. But Godzilla vs. Kong, I think because it was the first big film back in the theaters, I think that's what really helped it out. It was really a film that the big screen just added to it, 100%. But then you look at everything else that got day-and-date releases, even the stuff you had to pay for, it didn't work. It did not work. And I think Disney, even though Disney is really getting some heat at the moment, rightfully so, I think they were at least smart enough to realize, okay, we are in a pandemic. We do need to take this in consideration. So, hey, look, my review for It's Up, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with Jungle Cruise. Mark and his girlfriend also saw it, and they had a lot of fun with it as well. So, ultimately, I'd be down for a sequel. I like The Rock and Emily Blunt together. Don't Breathe 2 made $2.2 million. $41 million right now on a $15 million budget. You assume it's a $15 marketing budget as well. So $45 million. This film's getting close. Although it is dropping pretty quick. It's only in week 4, and it is down to $22 million. Let's see where it dropped 52 the first week. That's about what you would get. It only opened on 10 million too. But it didn't need to open on a big amount at 15 million. 52, 43, and 43. That following previous week was where Candyman came out. And I think that's kind of what it kind of got it this weekend as well, is the fact Candyman is out. Although it only did drop 22.8%. So it goes to show how much people are enjoying the film. Respect made her 1.2 million. It's still hanging around. Not enough to be making its money back. I don't have the budget right in front of me right now, but I know it's like mid-budget area, and they just didn't make their money back. Suicide Squad, a tale as old as time, a film that deserves so much better. $162 million against the $185 million budget. Oh man, that hurts. This film deserves so much more. I loved the film. I absolutely did, but it is what it is. Black Widow made her $748 grand. 372 million. If we're going by my little mathematical equation here, that, take the amount it made and then maybe cut in half. That's maybe what it made overall on Disney Plus. Let's say 90 million at best. This film is right now 13. I mean, if it's 90, I mean, the film would be barely breaking even, maybe even making a little money, but that's at best. The problem is we just don't know how much it overall made. Same with Jungle Cruise and what it overall made on Disney Plus. Same with Cruella, same with Raya, same with what was the other one they released? Excuse me. Same with Mulan, all that. We just don't know the numbers because they were embarrassed by a huge margin of those numbers, so they didn't release them. But overall, it is what it is. But regardless, I mean, that is mostly the box office this week. There's not much else to talk about. All these other films are kind of just, thrown to the wayside. Night House has made almost $8 million. That's great, but it's not enough. The Protege has made $7.2 million. Not enough. And I liked Protege. The Green Knight, or Old, made less than $500,000. $85 million. It made its money back already, though, so it's all good. The Green Knight did not make its money back, sadly, and I really liked the Green Knight. Stillwater, that didn't make its money. Boss Baby, we know that didn't make its money back. It hit 105, though, so good for it. The Lost Leonardo. Cruella is still around for some reason. The Forever Purge. That made its money back. So, and then Tango Shalom, just debuted. Made 16 grand. Good for Tango Shalom. Look, I don't even know what our film made that we worked on. Silenced. It's a very low budget horror movie. You can find it. It's available, I believe, for free online. Any film that can make its money roughly back, or even make that kind of money that's so low budget. Now, to be fair, it only got 4 screens too, so who knows? And the reason I talked about Tango Shalom is because one of the guys like to follow Robert Meyer Burnett, who's big in the film industry. He worked on the film, so I encourage you to try to go out and see it if you can. Again, albeit it only got 4 screens, so it's probably only in areas where, like Los Angeles, New York, all that stuff. But if you're capable of seeing it, have it at it. As for next week's box office, I think you're just going to see a very basic repeat of what we saw here, with the exception of the fact that I think Paw Patrol is actually going to now be number 5 versus Jungle Cruise will be number 4. To be specific, I think it'll still be Shang-Chi. No duh there. I don't think there's going to be any issue when you have nothing coming out. Hold on. Free Guy will be number 2. If Free Guy is dropping like it's dropping here, and Candyman is dropping like it's dropping there, Free Guy is going to overtake Candyman. Then Candyman. I do think Candyman will still be it's obviously going to be in the top 5. Obviously, it's not the right term. It should be in the top 5. And then I think Jungle Cruise and Paw Patrol. Again, because of what we're seeing with the drop-off. So, that's where my money's going to be. But that is just my money. If I were a gambling man, which I do play cards every week, that's where I'd be putting my chips on. But anyway, I digress. What do you think the box office will be next week? What did you think of this week's box office? Do you agree with Shang-Chi's results? Did you love Shang-Chi? Or did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you one of the few people who did not like it? Because there are still people who did not like it. Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you folks later. Have a good one.